Hello, and welcome to the Without the Bank podcast, where you and I are going to talk about all things IBC, the business of banking, and how you can utilize your money today for cash flow. I get this question non-stop from people, and so let's just talk about it. What am I doing, and what am I looking at for cash flow? Because guess what? I'm just like you guys. I am always looking at ways to utilize my money better, ways that I can be making money without having to sit behind the desk. Because I love sitting behind the desk and I love helping you guys. But what if something happens where I can't be behind the desk and I can't be helping you? So I have procedures in place and I have people in place to take care of you, but that doesn't mean that my income is going to be the same. And so what can we do to ensure that my family is taken care of? Just like you're looking at what can you do to ensure that your family is taken care of. So here are the things that I am currently looking at. I am researching vacation rentals. And not long-term rentals. So many people want to get into that long-term rental, and that's all we hear about with the Robert Kiyosaki world, and that's what you need to have is long-term rentals, long-term rentals, long-term rentals. Not all rental property is created the same. Now, we have one rental property that we just bought. I am not an expert in this arena, okay? So do your own research. There are tons of podcasts. I am a podcast junkie. I am constantly listening to podcasts. And so some of the things that I am looking at are vacation rentals because people don't stay as long. They don't do typically as much damage. The current cash flow is better. But there is a lot to know about those rentals. And so here is what I would suggest for you to do. If you are looking for ways to make cash flow, we are looking at, you can go to, this is the podcast that I am currently listening to, is the Short Term Shop. SHOP, Short Term Shop. And that is Avery Carl. That is her podcast. It is a very good podcast. It talks about all the awesome things that, all the awesome things about short-term rentals. The downside of her podcast is it does not talk about the negative things of short-term rentals. I have really yet to hear her talk about what happened in 08 and 09. How did that affect those vacation rental markets? All that good stuff. But on the short-term rental side of things, that's what it's called, short-term rentals. I call them VRBO rentals, whatever you want to call them, right? Some people call it Airbnb. There are things to look for. Like, is all the income from that location, is it vacation rental income? Are 80% or more of those homes owned by vacation rental owners? Does the city already recognize that so they can't come in and change any zoning? I talked to somebody in Bozeman, Montana. Vacation rentals can no longer be purchased there because there is not enough housing for people to live there that have jobs there. And so now we have problems with that. A lot of these short-term rentals, people come in, it's a tourist trap, they buy these short-term rentals, and there isn't housing. People can't afford to even live there to work because it drives up the price of housing. So there are some towns that don't like them. Do you already want to be in an established area that is where all that income is coming from? And she goes over a lot of that in her podcasts, which is absolutely fantastic. She also has a course right now that I am taking. And if you guys care, email me. I can do an update when I'm done with the course. I've got like 4 weeks left. And thus far, I'm not impressed with what I've paid for because the majority of what I'm learning was in the podcast. So why did I pay money for that? So not super impressed on that front of things. However, it is a great avenue. For me, it's something that I am seriously looking in. within the next 12 months, I will most likely have one for myself unless something goes awry. But I am even looking at, I really want to talk to somebody that went through 08 and 09. What happened in those markets? Did people quit traveling? How did that affect their income? Because a lot of times you are not going to pay cash. You are going to come in and finance it. Well, if you finance it, you got to make sure you can make that payment. And so I'm kind of slow to do those things. I was super fast when I heard about infinite banking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm going to do it. I started a policy and I quit my job, and the rest is history. But on stuff like this, there's so many outside factors. There's no guarantees, right? And I really am a super conservative person, and I love guarantees. And so I am talking to clients. I have clients that have VRBOs that are making $5,000 a month, and I have clients that are making $2,000 a month. I have clients with vacation rentals in South Dakota, the Smokies, Branson, Missouri. And so they're kind of all over. It's not just one location. So that is definitely, again, something to look at. Where do you want to be? What does that area look like? Are they rented 12 months out of the year? Are they only rented 9 months out of the year because it's cold and snowy in South Dakota the rest of the time? What does that look like? So definitely lots to learn there, but that is one thing that is more appealing to me, makes more money, faster, less damage, and not as much maintenance upkeep as one would think. So all good stuff on that front. Just need to pull the plug on that. The other thing that I have, and then like I said, we did do a long-term rental, not making as much money there as we should be. Not super impressed. That one we bought for a family member to stay in, so it really wasn't like the best business decision of my life. The other one that I am looking at is ATM machines. And this is not something, again, that makes us just a super ton of money. We are looking at $300 to $500 a month. We have to do some legwork. I've talked to a person about those as well, found him on YouTube. His name is Thomas Berkeley. He has a great YouTube channel. He outlines everything. Like I said, I visited with him. Super nice guy, super honest, not telling you can make a lot of money. He also has a program that you can buy to learn how to set those all up. I have not done that yet, but I have not bought an ATM yet either because I need to see how to install them. I've already called the bank. I can have the account. I have a couple of businesses that have said that they are interested. So I didn't know until within the last year that ATMs were not bank owned. I didn't know that individuals could own those, and individuals absolutely can own those. And a lot of people say, well, what's happening with ATMs? Or, people are using all digital currency, Venmo, those kind of places, the Cash App. And yes, they are using that, but retailers are getting really tired of paying fees. So your places like bars, nail salons, massage therapists, tattoo parlors, barbers, those kinds of people are getting really, really tired of paying fees. And so they will have an ATM in their facility, and then guess what? You get to have your ATM there and they get to save money on the fees. So it really is a win-win for everybody if you can get in there. The thing is to get in, get a contract signed, then you buy the ATM. What is the shipping time on an ATM? That I don't know. Everything is so backlogged right now. I would be a little bit worried that you're a month, 2 months out. Supply and demand is not in our favor at the moment. So that is something else that I have been looking into. I am going to give you guys a lot of the podcasts that I'm listening to. Storage units are another one. I listened to AJ Osborne. He has a podcast called The Storage Income, I believe it is. Self-storage income, AJ Osborne. That also is a really good podcast. He has a podcast that is just AJ Osborne as well, which is also a very good podcast. I just listened to one of those this morning about the US dollar, the strength of the currency, all that stuff. He is not an economist, but he loves economics. He had some really good viewpoints on his podcast this morning, but he talks about the self-storage industry, that, you know, it's a great industry to be in. It is not foolproof when the economy falls, but right now it is overbuilt. And should we be looking at it? It has to be a slam dunk. What are the numbers that you need? He has written a book about all of this. And so I have found his podcast to be very, very useful. Self-storage was something I was looking at 2 years ago. Yeah, it was 2 years ago I was listening to his podcast. I think I listened to every one of them up to that point. And I was all gung-ho, but I also noticed that in our area, self-storage is seriously overbuilt. I also don't want, like, I have to consider our living and what we're doing, right? In North Dakota, there's snow and you have to move it. And so to be able, like, that would have to be somebody's full-time job. In the winter, we would have to hire somebody for that. All those things need to be taken into consideration. It is still definitely something that is on my brain. It's just not on my brain as much as it used to be because of the fact of where we're at. If we bought one 40 miles away from here and it snowed, it just would not be that easy to go get one or to go remove the snow. You would have to find somebody to do that, which is not impossible, but, you know, all those factors into consideration. And so those are also good podcasts. The other thing that I want to mention is the other podcast that I listen to, which has nothing to do with cash flow, but everything to do with taxes, is the Anderson Business Advisors podcast. That is a great podcast for tax purposes. They talk about anything and everything that people email to them for questions. Now, a lot of those questions are real estate related, but also a lot of them are IRA related. What if I sell for sale by owner type stuff? What if I have a business? Can I deduct X, Y, and Z? They cover the gamut of everything, and I love their podcast. I do not use them. I have interviewed them, and I found them to be helpful, but not any more helpful than my existing accountant. So do you move? Do you not move? My biggest issue with accountants is they don't get back to you within 24 hours. And it absolutely drives me bonkers. Don't take on so many people that you cannot help them adequately. That is my thing, right? I hire more assistants so that I have time to help people, so that I have time to make phone calls and return phone calls. These guys apparently don't know how to do that, and it drives me insane. It's every accountant. I do like Robert Kiyosaki, but I have found him to be a little bit hard to listen to in his podcasts. And so that is definitely, you know, you listen as you wish to his podcast. I wish he wasn't quite so abrasive and he would let his guests talk more, because I do believe that there is a lot to learn from his guests. It's just a matter of him not letting them talk as much as that he would like, or I would like for them to talk. So those are the things that I'm looking at personally for cash flow at the moment. Obviously, there are other things out there to be done, like start a business. What does that look like? The client that I just got off the phone with is making 6 figures a year in a network marketing business. She said their business exploded this year, or last year in 2021, due to COVID. Everybody got to go home. They got to work from home. They liked it. They signed up for a network marketing business because maybe they lost their job, whatever. And they're seeing that those businesses pay. I do not hate network marketing. I know a lot of people do. I think there is a little bit of a risk to network marketing because I have seen businesses bought out. I have seen many network marketing companies go under. I have seen them change their compensation plans, and I don't like any of that because essentially you're building your business on the back of somebody else's business. Now, can you go to another company? Will your people follow you? Yes. If you do well and you have been an amazing leader, those people will follow you. I have seen that happen time and time again. Ultimately, you are building somebody else's business. However, it is a great business. And like I told this client, I use a lot of products from network marketing companies because I do believe that they are a better quality product than what I can get at Walmart. And so I will tend to go that route. I always have. I was in network marketing. I am no longer in network marketing, but I did that years and years and years ago when I was like 23 years old. I was the crazy lunatic doing network marketing and MLM schemes. And so does somebody need to get compensated along the way? Yes, they do. If they choose to be in it, they can be in it. I really don't care how people get compensated. Everybody is going to a job to make money. Even the client that I talked to before her, he is also a business owner and he sells seed and fertilizer for farmers. And he too is looking to expand his whole business where he has a bunch of people underneath him and he is making commission off of some of them. And so there is really a lot of opportunity to be doing things to create cash flow. You know, network marketing and even what this guy's doing, not network marketing, is just about building your team. And can those people be creating some income if you are away from the desk? Some things to think about. I think even in the blue collar industry, plumbers, electricians, those kind of people. Is there people you can hire to be making money? Is there an opportunity for you to train if you no longer have the body that's going to hold up to what you're doing? Can you make money off of training? Can you do videos and make a living off of videos? I talked to a client a couple of weeks ago who they put a butcher shop on their land. And they have an 80-year-old guy teaching people how to cut meat. Can that all be recorded and sold as a training video? Why not? Like, we have to start thinking about ways to create income that is not traditional. And then I was talking to my marketing guys and they were talking about some, I think they're Italians, Italian women that are like 70 plus years old. I forget the name of their YouTube channel. He shared it with me, but they are making videos of how they make noodles, how they make dough, how they make bread, whatever it is that they're making, putting them on YouTube and making money that way. That older generation has a lot of knowledge. And if you are the older generation and you've been a welder, an electrician, a plumber, whatever it is that you do, don't think that your knowledge is wasted. It's not. People are out there needing to understand. You know, I think it would be funny if somebody just made a video on how to, use a rotary phone. Because these young kids don't know how to use a rotary phone. They don't even know what a dial tone is. So can somebody make a video on that? Like, there is just tons and tons of opportunities. But the things that I'm looking at are the things that I just talked about. Those are the podcasts that I'm listening to, amongst other podcasts and books and all that stuff. So don't think that you just have to go one way. And so many people just talk about real estate and long-term rentals and how many doors do you have? And that kind of stuff does not appeal to me. Short-term rentals do. Long-term rentals, absolutely 100% do not appeal to me. They do not appeal to my husband. And I do have to sell this to my husband as well. And so if it's not a fit, then we need to keep looking for other things to do. There is enough real estate podcasts to listen to. I think I'm not a huge fan of the Bigger Pockets podcast, but I do the Real Estate Guys, I think is the other podcast that I was listening to on real estate, the Real Estate Guys radio show. I seem to like them more. I don't know why. But so many people brag about Bigger Pockets too. And so they talk more about long-term rentals. And I listen to a little bit here and there on either one of those podcasts, but not a ton. just because I want short-term rental information, not long-term rental information. And I have a limited amount of time. I have to choose what I want to listen to. Okay, I hope that gave you kind of a good idea of where to start, some podcasts to listen to, and just get an idea about cash flow. Cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. That is what we are looking for. That something that produces money while we are not working. There are lots of things that do that. It's just which approach do you want to take to get there? If you guys have not gotten the book Life Without the Bank, please go to withoutthebank.com, grab that book. Let me know if you have questions. If you want to set up a meeting, I am absolutely happy to visit with you, or to answer any questions if you want at Mary Jo at withoutthebank.com is where you can email me for those. All right, you guys, you have a absolutely fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next podcast.